Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be stepping into the mind, or attempting to, of Final Fantasy XVI's ultimate enigma, Ultima. To most players, he's the final boss, the last hurdle in Clive's journey towards freeing mankind. But beneath the surface lies something much deeper. Ultima isn't just a villain, he's a reflection of an ancient tragedy, of gods who sought perfection and destroyed themselves in the process. This isn't just the story of a god trying to take control. It's a story about why he felt the need to do so, about the fear of imperfection and the desperate attempt to rebuild a paradise long lost to ruin. We're going to explore Ultima's true plan, the roots of his divine philosophy, the meaning of mythos, and how Clive's defiance shattered millennia of manipulation. If you enjoy deep dives like this, I stream every Wednesday and Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. PST. We hang out, break down Final Fantasy lore, and explore RPG worlds together. And if you want to support more long-form videos like this, consider becoming a channel member. It really helps to keep these videos and the content going. Now, let's begin our journey into the mind of a fallen god. To understand Ultima's plan, we need to start at the beginning, long before Valisthea, before the realms of Sanbreque, Rosaria, or Volud ever existed. Ultima's people were beings of near omnipotent power. They existed in a realm far removed from the physical, one where will shaped reality, and the flow of ether sustained all life. They had no need for war or desire, no concept of death. They were the divine. But even gods are not immune to hubris. Their civilization began to collapse, consumed by the very ether they believed they controlled. It's never fully explained how this happened, but hints from in-game lore suggest that over centuries, their pursuit of purity, of endless refinement, caused an imbalance so great that their own world decayed into lifeless dust. When everything crumbled, Ultima refused to accept extinction. He gathered the remnant of his kind and set out to create a new world, a new cradle for perfection. From ruin, rebirth. And so the seeds of Valisthea were planted, not as a gift to life, but as a project of restoration. For Ultima, the world was not creation, it was a laboratory. And life, humanity, was the experiment. In Ultima's vision, mankind was never meant to thrive, only to serve. He infused the land with vast sources of ether, forming the mother crystals, monuments of divine design that controlled the world's life force. Around these crystals, civilizations rose. People learned to draw power from them, to wield magic, to fight, to rule. But all of this, the nations, the magic, the bearers, even the blight, was all part of Ultima's grand equation. The mother crystals were not blessings, they were merely filters, systems designed to channel and refine humanity's ether, to distill power, to test how far mortal vessels could evolve before they broke under divine pressure. And break they did. Wars over resources, discrimination against bearers, the rise and fall of empires, every tragedy in Valisthea was proof of humanity's instability. To Ultima, this confirmed what he already believed. Humans were flawed, chaotic, and incapable of divine order. But he didn't hate humanity. He pitied them. They were incomplete. They were mere clay waiting to be reshaped. Over centuries, he watched. He manipulated bloodlines, orchestrated the creation of dominance, and scattered fragments of his consciousness throughout the world. waiting for a day a mortal strong enough to host his essence would be born. Enter Clive Rosfield, the child of destiny. Born of Rosarian nobility, touched by the Phoenix, and bound by tragedy, Clive was never supposed to be a hero. He was a variable Ultima designed, the Mythos, the one mortal capable of absorbing all icons, of containing the full breadth of divine power. From the very beginning, Ultima guided the chaos around him. The destruction of Phoenix Gate, the death of his father, even the awakening of Ifrit, all part of Ultima's unseen hand moving the pieces into place. Each icon Clive defeated, each crystal he destroyed, it was not rebellion, it was refinement. He was unconsciously fulfilling the prophecy written for him, to absorb the world's ether and become the vessel worthy of Ultima's return. But there is something Ultima never calculated: the human soul's capacity for will. Every pain Clive endured, every friend, every loss, every sacrifice carved death into his being. He became not a hollow shell, but a man defined by choice, emotion, and defiance. Where Ultima saw weakness, Clive found strength. The Mythos was supposed to be a god reborn. Instead, he became humanity's proof that even creation itself could be defied. Ultima's ideology is perhaps one of the most fascinating in the Final Fantasy series, and one of the most tragic. To him, creation without order is meaningless. A world with pain, war, or decay is proof of imperfection. His goal wasn't to rule mankind. It was to erase everything impure: emotion, doubt, individuality, and forge a single unified existence. In his mind, free will is chaos, and chaos leads only to ruin. That's why Ultima's tone throughout the game is quite calm, patient, even loving. He doesn't rage against humanity. He mourns their disobedience, like a parent frustrated by a child who refuses to see the truth. When Ultima speaks of transcendence, he's not lying. He truly believes merging with Clive, and by extension all of mankind, will bring salvation. But this vision of unity comes with a cost. Individuality must die. The mind, the self, the soul, all dissolved into the divine collective. And that's where the heart of Final Fantasy XVI's message lies. Because Ultima's philosophy isn't just about gods or men, it's about the human fear of imperfection, how far we're willing to go to erase our flaws, and what we lose when we do. Clive stands as the ultimate rejection of that idea. He embraces imperfection. He accepts pain, love, loss, the full spectrum of being human, as truth, not failure. Ultima believes divinity means control. Clive proves divinity lies in freedom. When the final battle begins, Ultima unveils his true form, no longer hiding behind human avatars or crystal echoes. This is the being who shaped the world itself, now confronting the one mortal who refuses to play by his rules. It's more than a battle between man and God. It's the collision of philosophies: creation versus chaos, perfection versus freedom. Ultima's attacks, his shape-shifting, even the merging of multiple forms are all symbolic of his desperation to control what he can no longer understand. Every blow Clive strikes, every icon he channels, is humanity screaming back, "You do not own us." And when Clive finally defeats him, when Ultima collapses and utters that single broken word, "Why?" it's one of the most haunting moments in the game, because that question isn't anger, it's heartbreak. Ultima doesn't understand how something imperfect could overcome something divine. he cannot comprehend why humanity would choose freedom over paradise. That moment is the death of divinity, not through violence, but through understanding. The realization that his vision of perfection was hollow. Ultima's plan fails not because of power, but because of perspective. Even after Ultima falls, his influence lingers. His world, his crystals, his ether, all of it remains part of Valisthea's foundation. Some players interpret Clive's final act, the attempt to remove magic itself, as an effort to finally break Ultima's cycle, to free mankind not just from godhood, but from dependence on the ether that began this entire chain. Whether he succeeded or not is not open to interpretation, but symbolically, Clive's sacrifice represents the complete inversion of Ultima's dream. Ultima sought to build a world through control. Clive sought to rebuild it through release. And that's what makes Final Fantasy XVI so profound. It's not just a story of gods and men, but a meditation on creation, failure, and the beauty of imperfection. Ultima's plan was never born from malice. It was born from fear. The fear of extinction, the fear of imperfection, the fear of letting go. And yet through that fear, he became the very thing he tried to destroy, a prisoner of his own creation. Clive's victory is humanity's declaration that life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful, that the cracks in the world and in ourselves are what makes us real. If you enjoyed this analysis, consider leaving it a like, sharing it with fellow Final Fantasy XVI plans, and let me know in the comments below. Do you think Ultima was truly evil, or just tragically lost in his own idealism? And once again, I stream every Wednesdays and Saturdays from 8 to 10, where we hang out, discuss RPG stuff, and dive even deeper into stories like this one. If you want to help support future deep dives and other projects, consider becoming a channel member. Every little bit helps brings more of these projects to life. Thanks for watching, everyone, and remember, perfection isn't divine, it's human.